Hello, I'm People's Historian Daniel Gray. The Spanish Civil War began in July of 1936 when General Franco and his allies launched a coup against the democratically elected left-leaning government of Spain. Franco's fascists were supported by Mussolini's Italy and Hitler's Germany. In opposition, the government or Republican side was backed by the Soviet Union and by the thousands of men and women that flocked from across the world to serve in the volunteer forces of the international brigades. The British government signed a non-intervention treaty making it illegal to travel and volunteer in Spain. But 35 men from Edinburgh didn't care. They went and fought regardless. The conflict they found was a brutal, bloody one and a rehearsal for World War II. Around 550 Scots served in the Spanish Civil War. All of them have passed away now. But I got to know one of them, Steve Fullerton. He'd sit in his armchair regaling me with tales of Spain. Steve was blind by then, and yet his eyes lit up when he talked of Spain. It was like it was yesterday. It was vivid, close. Steve went to Spain because of a natural antipathy to fascism. He hated the brutality, the unfairness. Other people went to protect democracy. They didn't like the thought of an elected government being overthrown. More still went because of political convictions. Many were members of the Communist Party. Steve told me about two of them, Jimmy Rutherford and Harry Fry. At the outbreak of war in Spain, Jimmy Rutherford was just 18 years old. He lived here in Newhaven, the son of a Leith docker. Jimmy was a member of the Young Communist League, a bright young thing. Harry Fry was twice his age, a World War I veteran, a family man, a shoe repairer from Craigmillar. The two's decision to go to Spain was not a rash one. It was part of a political calculation. In Spain, fascism could be vanquished and a better tomorrow built. They left for Spain in December 1936 via London, Paris and over the Pyrenees. When Jimmy and Harry arrived in Spain, they joined the British battalion of the International Brigade. They were sent almost immediately into battle at Jarama, south of Madrid. They played their part in a heroic defence of the city from fascists, but their entire machine gun company was ambushed and arrested. They were carted off, sent to concentration camps. Their treatment was predictably brutal. Each day, 90 of their cellmates would be taken out and executed. Jimmy and Harold were put up for show trials in May of 1937. Both of them were sentenced to death. Harry just shrugged when the verdict was read. But as British prisoners, they were valuable. Negotiations had been going on and a prisoner exchange was to take place. Jimmy and Harry escaped back to Edinburgh. Back here in Edinburgh, Jimmy and Harry itched to be in Spain. They wanted to finish the battle they'd started. Jimmy toured the area, talking about Spain. He was a great orator, renowned for his vocabulary. Harry campaigned for Spain too, but their hearts were there. As Jimmy said to his father, if the young folk here had seen what I'd seen in Spain, they'd go back too. So it was that at the end of the summer of 1937, the two travelled again back to Spain. Harry was made commander of the entire British battalion. It couldn't save him from death though in a violent battle. In spite of the loss of his great friend, Jimmy fought on. In March 1938 though, he was once again captured and arrested. The first time Jimmy had been arrested and sent back to Scotland, he'd signed a paper pledging that he'd never go to Spain. If he did so, he'd be executed. His cellmates were aware of the gravity of his recapture. They gave him a different name, James Smalls, but Jimmy confessed to them that he felt his time was up. In a tragic piece of bad luck, Jimmy Rutherford was recognised by the same prison officer that had processed him the previous time. On May the 24th, 1938, Jimmy Rutherford from Newhaven was executed by firing squad. He was 20 years old. Back here in Newhaven, Jimmy Rutherford's father received a letter from the Foreign Office. It explained that his son had been acting illegally, that's why he'd been killed. Harry Fry's widow wrote a heartbreaking letter. My husband went to Spain because he realised the danger of fascism and believed that his military experience could best be used in fighting it. He joined the International Brigade because he thought it was the job he could do best. His experience of fascist methods of warfare and their brutal treatment of prisoners behind the lines only helped to strengthen his determination to carry on the fight until Franco, Hitler and Mussolini were beaten. This is why he went back to Spain again after a short period of leave, his wound hardly healed, and without ever seeing his baby boy, which was born the day after, he left. I wouldn't have stopped him even if I could, because I believe he was right, and I'm sure his last thoughts must have been of regret that he couldn't live to see the final triumph of the forces he fought for.